Welcome to the complete guide for Haze and Deadlock, not to be confused with Ray Gun, even though they both have an interest in breakdancing. One just has an interest in dancing on graves, while the other should probably never dance again. Sorry, enough of the corniness. Let's get to it. Starting with a breakdown of her abilities. These are all based on the patch as of 9/24/2024.
Yeah, so Haze got slightly nerfed in between the creation of this video. So the rest of the video we presented on the older patch, but the updated values and nerfs to Haze will be presented here. Sorry!
The first ability is the Sleep Dagger. You throw a dagger at the enemy that does damage and puts them to sleep. It can be an absolute troll machine for BM, but more on that later in the builds discussion. The base values are 70 damage, 26-second cooldown, 0.2-second minimum sleep time, 0.1-second wake-up time, and 3-second sleep duration. As you collect souls and unlock additional tiers, these values change slightly. Tier 1 removes 1 stamina from the enemy, Tier 2 reduces the cooldown by 13 seconds, and Tier 5 applies -12 bullet resist for 6 seconds on wake-up. Checking in. Did the dagger put you to sleep? Let's get you awake and break it down. You throw a silly dagger that makes your enemies spend the weekend at Bernie's, have less opportunity of getting away from or closer to you, and makes them susceptible to you ruining more than just their weekend when you gun them down. Quick tip, don't be afraid to throw in a heavy melee attack before they wake up for a little extra damage. Ability 2 is Smoke Bomb. You fade out of sight and run faster. Be careful though, because attacking or getting too close to an enemy can allow them to see you. Base values are at 8-second duration, 18-meter spot radius, 1.5-second fade time, an additional 2 meters per second sprint speed, and 37-second cooldown. Tier 1 reduces the cooldown by 15 seconds. Tier 2 increases 6 meters per second invis sprint speed, and Tier 5 gains 30% bullet lifesteal for 8 seconds after invisibility. Simply put, Haze is the assassin Houdini of the OSIC. Now you see me, now you don't. And let's hope you don't see me again, because it will not end well for you. Ability 3 is Fixation. If you watch my Viscous guide, then you are probably noticing a trend here, because the third ability is once again my favorite. Each bullet you hit increases the damage you do to your enemy. Each bullet you hit gains 1 stack and 2 if it is a headshot. Base values are 0.2 per stack weapon damage, 30 max stacks, and 6-second duration. Tier 1 gains 60 spirit damage and 50% slow for 2 seconds to target every 20 stacks. Tier 2 gains 40 max stacks and +5 duration. Tier 5 gains 0.2 per stack weapon damage. Fixation is the perfect name for this ability, because if you fix your aim on your target, then they will Houdini straight back to their spawn at a crazy fast rate. It would probably be best for them to be fixed there until the match is over if you max it out. I said no more corniness. I love it. The final ability is Bullet Dance. Haze moves around shooting enemies with perfect accuracy, gains a fire rate bonus, and evades some incoming bullets. Base values are a 3-second channel time, 15-meter range, 138-second cooldown, and an additional 25% fire rate, +2 weapon damage, 1 target hit per shot, and 50% evasion chance. Tier 1 increases 7 weapon damage, Tier 2 reduces the cooldown by 40 seconds, and Tier 5 gains 1 additional target hit per shot. Picture this, Haze hits breakdance moves reminiscent of the early 2000s, but with a twist. Bullets flying everywhere. It's death, destruction, and dance, all rolled up into one incredible sandwoman who puts her enemies to sleep with less than one eye open. So, how do you play Haze? It all starts with your enemies saying their prayers in the laning phase and expands into mid to late game. Your priorities are similar in all phases, but Haze's abilities snowball with a soul's lead, and the laning phase sets the tone. Getting behind can make it feel like you're so far out of the game, especially with a glass cannon like Haze. I would recommend you purchase your Fixation ability to start the game, as it can help you clear waves more quickly and punish your enemies for overextending. Follow it up with a Sleep Dagger, as it is your greatest utility ability. It does poke damage, helps with evading your enemies, allows you to freely claim souls, and creates outplay opportunities for you and your teammate with sleep time on your enemy or the Guardian. This leaves Smoke Bomb. It seems anticlimactic while in lane, but it can help you quite a bit to create surprise attacks on your enemy and get a clean dagger, since you stay invisible even after using your ability. As for the path to leveling up your abilities, your inclination may be to do the standard Tier 1 across the board for a balanced approach. But Fixation is so key for Haze that I strongly recommend rushing to Tier 5 as fast as possible. You can adjust this based on the build that you're going for. For example, if you go for a Dagger BM build, you may want to rush the Dagger. Next, get Smoke Bomb to Tier 2 so you can move freely and quickly roam as needed in the mid game and beyond. Follow it up with a Tier 1 Sleep Dagger to give your enemies less escapability, and rush your ultimate to Tier 5 after. You can finish off the Smoke Bomb to Tier 5 and finish with the Dagger, but I would recommend considering how the match is playing out if you're relying on daggers more to switch the order between the two, as is your main piece of utility. When you get to map play or mid game is where Haze needs to focus on farming souls, but not just in dreams this time. in game by solo pushing waves and clearing jungle camps. I mentioned it earlier that Haze snowballs well. What I failed to mention is falling behind can be extremely punishing and feel like you lost a match before it began. It may feel fun to get involved with team fights or gank, and it's definitely a big part of the playstyle, but it cannot come at a cost to your farm. You should look for opportunities to float in with your smoke screen, set up a dagger play for your teammates, and get picks. The important part is how you quickly fade out of view again to get back to farming, or turn the gank into taking an objective. She has one of the fastest movement speeds of all the heroes, especially when combined with smokescreen, so put it to good use in your mid game to continue your soul's lead. Quick note, you can rush Ricochet if you are struggling or want to further distance your lead, as it drastically speeds up your soul's farm in the mid game and can help you do tier 3 jungle camps quickly. More on items later though. Let's get to the late game. By this point, you should hopefully be the most fed on your team. It's time to look for opportunities to solo the mid boss while your team pushes forward on attacks, and hunt for opportunities to send your enemies off to Never Never Land. If you have a significant lead, this is where Haze channels full Sandman, but not just the sleepy kind. I'm talking full-on death and destruction Sandman that has the potential to 1v6 the whole team with the right build. So get in there, hit those breakdance moves, and when combined with something like Unstoppable, you can cause nearly limitless mayhem Allstate couldn't stop. Before we get into the builds discussion, I want you to be aware of some stats that can be treated like levers to improve your build process. Haze's Sleep Dagger's damage scales at 2.8 times, and Wake Up time scales at 0.003 times with spirit items, while her Smoke Bomb and Bullet Dance duration scales at 0.2 times and 0.07 respectively. Also, her magazine size is 25 and scales with Spirit at 0.5 times. On the other side of the equation are stats that can be impacted by vitality and weapon items. Her health is 500 with 2 HP regeneration per second, Bullet and Spirit resist of 0%, move speed of 8 meters per second with no additional sprint movement speed, and stamina values of 3. The weapon does 5.6 damage with 2 times multiplier to headshots and shoots 10 bullets per second. Light and heavy melee damage is 63 and 116 respectively. As you collect souls and level up, bullet damage increases by 0.28, melee damage increases by 3.4, and health increases by 38. The bullet damage increase is the second lowest of all the heroes, as Mo and Krill has the lowest, while the melee and health increase is in line with other heroes. I know there's a lot, but those values and stats are some of the most important pieces you need to realize as you're building out your Dancing Magician Assassin. I know, sweet, right? If you get through builds and need a refresher, watch this section with the values again to think through how it would work. Okay, so as we go through these builds, I'm going to take it through each section and really break things down. If you're new to my guides, I don't want to tell you a specific build. I want to give you the tools to be able to think through builds for yourself rather than relying just on public options. So in the 500 or early game section, we've got Ammo Scavenger, Mystic Reach, and Extra Spirit. I personally really like Ammo Scavenger because this allows you to secure or deny a soul and get ammo back. At the 1250, or once you get into kind of map play, we've got Bullet Resist Shredder, Quicksilver Reload. Those are going to be 2 you're always going to see. I personally really like Withering Whip. You can target an enemy to apply fire rate slow and reduce their bullet resist. Obviously, this is going to be something that's really going to ruin someone's day. You apply this and then get in there and do crazy damage. At the 3000 plus, you're starting to get into more of your core of your build. For me personally, the core option has to be Ethereal Shift. There's so many others here that can be situationally incredible, but the Ethereal Shift allows you an opportunity after just going in there doing crazy ability usage to have a short time where you can regenerate cooldown or have your teammates catch up. At the 6200 plus, you got Echo Shard, Refresher. You can get crazy with the builds here with Refresher. You can redo your ultimate again, but I personally really like Curse. It curses an enemy, interrupting, silencing, disarming, and preventing item usage. If you think about it, as enemies start to scale up their abilities, they have more opportunity to interrupt your bullet dance or something else of yours and put you in a bad situation. This really gives you an opportunity to fight back. Next up are Haze's vitality options. She's been described as a glass cannon. Low HP, high damage output. So we really need to think through the situations that you can be in, and this section is extremely important because of that. In the early game, we've got quite a few HP regeneration options and also movement options. The HP regeneration items can be sold later. I really like to build on the stamina and sprint boots personally because it helps you traverse the map more easily. The 1250 or map play options, or sometimes in laning phase, if you're going up against a beat bop or a leech style of pocket and furnace, Some of these options might be extremely helpful for you, like combat barrier, reactive barrier, heal vein, or you want to build out your movement speed. Personally, I really like bullet lifesteal. This allows you to do out damage and then gain some life back. It's extremely helpful for a character like Haze, and I personally focus on this one. At the 3000 level, quite a few options that you'll see in other kits, and also debuff remover. But Veil Walker, for me personally, is the one that I really like. Cosmic Veil grants you stealth, increased movement speed, restores all bullet and spirit shields, and grants bonus fire rate for your next magazine. Obviously, this can help you traverse the map and get some cool gank potential. In the last section, all of these are really, really good and highly situational when it comes to Soul Rebirth. I personally think Unstoppable is a must-have. As you get through the game and get into sort of the later game, more characters will be able to interrupt your ultimate. Pop Unstoppable for your ultimate, and for 6 seconds, they can't do anything about it. This to me is extremely key, and honestly, an item you can't do without on Haze. Lastly, we've got Haze's weapon options. Now, these are honestly incredible across the board. Think about Haze's character and the way that her guns are used. There's really very few options that you can go wrong with. It's just conceptually how you might want to think about it. I'm going to go through the staples for me personally in my book. In the early game, headshot booster and rapid rounds are extremely incredible for me. I like the headshot booster because I click heads, and rapid rounds because it increases the fire rate and allows me to get out more damage. In the mid game or the map play, we've got quite a few in here that are staples like Soul Shredder or Kinetic Dash to help you with movement. I really like Berserker. Your weapon damage increases as you take sustained damage. Again, Glass Cannon. You take a lot of damage while you're doing things like your ultimate, and so this can help you to do more damage as you take more damage. It's kind of an offsetting option that's not vitality driven. In the 3000 section, again, it starts to get very interesting here with Point Blank, Headhunter, more options for clicking heads, Burst Fire. For me personally, I like Toxic Bullets, and I'm going to highlight this one specifically because it's less talked about. When you're going up against an Abrams that has quite a bit of health and also a ton of sustainability in terms of HP regeneration, your bullets build up a bleed on enemies, causing them to lose a percentage of their current health over time. Also applies healing reduction on the bleeding target. For me, this is an option that isn't discussed enough when it comes to Haze. And in the end, we've got Ricochet, Lucky Shot, Glass Cannon, Frenzy, Crippling Headshot, Silencer, so many options, even Siphon Bullets. And I know I'm just listing them off here. I like to rush Ricochet as my 4th option to help me with farm, getting through jungle camps, clearing wave 3 or tier 3 of jungle camps quickly, and clearing waves, as well as breaking up pushes from enemies. It has so much potential. Now, one that you don't often think about is going to be the Silencer. For the next 4 seconds, all your abilities immediately apply silence. Silence prevents targets from using their abilities. Okay, we're getting into the end game here. You've got the Silencer going. I mean, this turns you into an unstoppable force. It's extremely expensive, very frivolous, and oh man, it might take a little bit to get here, but if you can get to this point, it's GG's, and you're gonna see yourself winning quite a few matches. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it to this point, I really do appreciate it, especially if you enjoyed. If you didn't enjoy it, feel free to let me know in the comments what you didn't enjoy, and I'll try to improve in the future. That's the name of the game for me. I always want to put out the best content, best information that I can, and I would love for you to share feedback for me, as well as information on how other people can improve their Haze builds or kits or usage. Would love to hear from you, and if you did enjoy, like, subscribe, do the things, and I'll catch y'all next time.